I'm Leon Lovelace, and this is Unstoppable Force. Now, I need your help. I need you to go to my PayPal link. I'm put a link in the description box below. I'm also throw it on here so you can go there and donate to me so I can expand this channel. But a little while ago, I did a video about how Venezuela defeated the United States in their elections with Nicolas Maduro winning re-election, and about some of the heinous things that our government's doing against the Venezuelan people, specifically with the economic sanctions. How that's really just put the Venezuelan people in just a really big bind, and how their economies really crash, and they have explosive amounts of inflation, and that's devastated the people. And since the government can't ship in certain items, especially certain medicines, that's really hurting the people that way. And the government can't buy or sell certain goods on the international markets, and how that's hurting the government too. And it's really creating chaos in Venezuela. And then the second part of my news story was about how the media blockades has also been hurting the Venezuelan people. I was gonna look up a few articles and just try to reel in a whole bunch of different information to show you guys about all the different ways that the media blockades hurting the Venezuelan people. But I just thought about it, and I just said, you know what? I could have actually made this a few days ago and just made it real simple. And I'm still going off this old Counterpunch article. It's about a month old now. But since I'm not really doing breaking news like I used to be able to do, it's still pretty relevant to us today. So I'll start with here. The U.S. is leading an economic war against Venezuela that is causing tremendous damage, but there is also a media blockade preventing the truth from being told. Mayor Carlos Alcala Cordones of Vargas, I'll skip a little bit, told us the media blockade was more damaging than the economic blockade. I was wondering, how the hell could, of all the terrible shit that our government's doing economically to make sure that the Venezuelan government is put in a bind because of a certain reason I'm about to talk about. But how could the media blockade be worse than that? Because I'll go on with the article, because they talk about how fairness and accuracy in reporting summarize the bias and inaccurate media coverage, writing that Western media has taken an entirely different outlook to the elections, unanimously presenting them as seriously flawed at best, and at worst a complete sham presided over by a dictator. Then he gives a few examples, because the New York Times, Huffington Post, and NPR has talked about this. Okay, I'll continue. It says right here, in reality, Venezuela had free, fair, and transparent elections and manages the most sophisticated and accurate voting system in the world. I'm gonna do a separate video about this, about how they have a great voting system, and how the United States and a lot of other nations should transition and follow the Venezuelan example of how to operate election systems, because ours is full of fucking shit, and it's just full of racist blocking voting access at the booths, and a few other issues. Some of it is definitely racially based, so that's one thing that we have no ethos or no credibility to stand on when we try to criticize other nations about their voting systems, when ours is completely and utterly corrupt. But the two simple reasons why the United States and other Western media outlets have been lying about Nicolas Maduro and his government is because, one, our government wants to overthrow him and throw in a puppet president, so we could put in some private corporations, specifically some oil companies in there and steal their natural resources, and just make sure that all those private corporations could get all the profits and fuck over the Venezuelan people. That's answer number one. Answer number two is because since the Venezuelan government actually enacted some socialist policies actually benefit the people and it worked. No, the U.S. cannot allow that. Jimmy Dore has said a couple times that whenever other nations have enacted socialist policies that people have liked, the government came up and said, you know what, we got to try to overthrow this government because we cannot stand the people of the United States, our people, to start demanding socialist policies that actually help the people. We can't let it stand. So we gotta slander them and lie and try to at least tell the American people that this guy's a dictator. He's abusing his own people. He's violating human rights, which a few other independent journalists have talked about. That's the sham our government does, is say this government or this president or this elected official has violated human rights. That's a travesty, so we need to go overthrow him and his government and make sure that they have a government that supposedly will treat people with dignity and give people the human rights that they deserve. Of course, our own government doesn't do that shit at all. So it's very hypocritical to do that in the first place. And also, of course, the government does it for their own ends and their own profit motives and their own selfish reasons, not to actually benefit people of other nations, which is one reason why we need to get money out of politics so we can make sure we don't keep this war economy going. I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's about making sure that the people of the United States don't demand that our government works for us. So as long as they can do that, they can keep their money train going. Just keep this revolving circle of money and power just in between them. Make sure regular people don't get money and power and take their privilege and all their wealth from them.